talked about adopting a local business and some of the just strategy of being a conduit for favor, for God to bless those places, to release shalom. You remember what I'm talking about? So I went to, I've told our story, there's a certain little feed store. We have some animals, a horse and goats, and there's this little feed store near us that we've really just felt the Lord has highlighted for us to pray over and just release kingdom. And every time we come in there, how many know it's not just you showing up? And they may think it's just you showing up, but you have the whole kingdom showing up with you. And so I walked in last time we went to buy feed, and I said, I'll take a bag of this and a bag of this. And she just looked at me and she said, well, you're not going to get that one. She said, I sold 165 bags of that feed in 3 days. And she just grinned. She said, that's never happened before. And so I'm finding some parameters if the Lord would not take my feed, but bless the feed store at the same time. That'd be great too. But it was such a testimony because all of a sudden just sales went just out the roof for this lady in their little feed store. And so that's what we're talking about. I believe that as we begin to bring the favor of God to our local businesses, he will bless them. I don't need you to agree because I already saw it. So, but it is powerful to see happen. So I've got a couple announcements this morning. Some of these things you may already know, but I just want to remind you, and I'm also giving Tiffany room to breathe before she comes back up, because I'm a good husband like that. Every Wednesday night, our youth group meets here. We have awesome youth group and awesome youth pastors. They went to the lake yesterday. That's why they all look a little pinkish this morning. And so Lucas and Bethany right up here, they well, she was up here, but they're our youth pastors, and they do an awesome job with our youth ministry. I think the official age group is at 12 through 17, somewhere around there. Yeah, so they meet every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. here. So if you have a teenager, bring them. If you know a teenager, bring them too. It's okay. Young adults meet Thursdays, every other Thursday. So the second and fourth Thursday of the month, they meet. They're ages 18 to 30, and they come up here and they meet in that house up in front of the church. Jordan and Ashley Evans leads our young adults group, and they're doing a wonderful job. Just good stuff. Also, small groups are happening all the time. If you haven't gotten involved in one, here's how I would encourage you to go about that. Go on our website, wearethegate.com, and sign up on our email list. It's the easiest way to do it because then you're going to be able to get the link to register and everything. So wearethegate.com and get on our weekly email list. Something else fun that's starting, we have been long waiting. I announced this all the way back in September, and it's been in the process, but we are starting labs. And so this is going to be really just at the heart, at the core of what we're doing with a lot of the discipleship pieces with impacting, more pieces with impacting and bringing reformation to our city. So next month, our first lab is going to be every Wednesday for June. Tiffany is actually going to be leading that lab. We're doing Pathway to Powerful. It is a phenomenal book. We have taken a majority of our leadership team through it, other than maybe some of the newer team members. And so it has really impacted us greatly. In July, I think I'm okay to announce this. July, AJ is going to be doing a power evangelism lab. And so, at least I think he is. He is now. Yeah, you're doing it. And then I think we agreed upon that. If not, somebody will be leading you through a power evangelism lab. Maybe we'll make it work. And so, I forgot something else that's starting in June. We're going to be doing, we announced this last week, but our summer prayer nights. And so we're really excited about these. The third Thursday night of June, July, and August, we're doing prayer here in the sanctuary from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we're just really going to be just releasing the Lord over this body, this city. And so third Thursdays in the summer, June, July, and August, we're going to be doing prayer nights. And again, these are all on the weekly email, so if I'm leaving you in the dust, just jump on that email. Newcomers lunch. If you're new to the gate and you've not been to one of these before, we have a newcomer lunch June 5th, so that'd be the first Sunday in June. In the back here, you can go, it's just down this hallway in the back. We're going to have a lunch for those that want to just learn more about the gate. There you go. That's going to be going on, and so this is not we're not going to pin you down and try to make you go to the gate. This is really in hopes of being a blessing to you if you want to know more about the gate, more about some things going on here. And if maybe you just want free lunch, you can come. if you haven't been to one before. We've had some repeats, and I've seen you. I know who you are. 2 or 3 times you've been. I'm watching you. And then, so I think, and then the growth track. We did the growth track a couple months ago. It was the first time with this new format, and I think it went really well. And so we're going to be doing the growth track again. That is something that if you want to come again, you could come if you so desire. But we'll be doing that in July, every Wednesday. So that'll be going on at the same time as Power Evangelism, so you have to pick. It's up to you, me or AJ. Now, if my 3 is coming out, if I were you, if you're really interested in evangelism, I would go to that because we'll do the growth track again. So anyways, that is the full schedule coming up in the near future. We're excited about all these wonderful things going on. And so this morning, I'm really excited that my wife is ministering. You are in for a treat. I tell people often, I don't know that it clicks. We serve together as the senior leaders of the church. It's not like you get me and then she comes for free. It's like we are a team doing this thing together. And she genuinely, her ability to, the word that has been highlighted to me all year for Tiffany has been guidance. She really has a grace to help guide. And so a lot of times that prophetic mantle on her, if you don't know, she was established as a prophet by Ivan Roman a little while ago. COVID. It was could have been 4 years ago, and it feels like last year. But she really has a tremendous gift in the prophetic, and she has a passion for seeing people be healthy. She's a sign, miracle, and a wonder, a healthy prophet. It was a joke. It's unfortunately a lot of the prophetic gifting gets away with not being healthy because I think we have begun to believe it's part of the gift, and I don't think it is. I think we need to have more encounters with healthy prophetic individuals. And so I am blessed by what I know she carries, and I know you're going to be blessed by it too. So I really would like to honor her. She comes up this morning. Can we welcome up Tiffany this morning?
First time using this thing. It honestly feels like my hair is in my face, so I'm going to pretend. So while I'm getting set up, I just want to thank you guys. This has been the safest atmosphere for me to branch out and talk and say what I feel. And I feel like that I could just read names in a phone book and you guys would be my cheerleaders. You'd be like, you said that name fantastic. Tell me that phone number again. So thank you. Thank you for making this a safe place for the people that this is a stretch for them. Being up here is a sacrifice for them. But I really do want to talk to you guys about what the Lord has put on my heart. So I went old school. Look at this, guys. I even used a highlighter, okay? Yes, I'm a tactile person, so I'm comforted by paper. So this is my security blanket right here. So anyways, John was saying that I'm a prophet in this house, and I take it on. I am confident in it. I'm happy about it. I operate in it. And so I wanted to come up here first and talk about the second Sunday in March with Chad Dedman, right? We've alluded to it a couple of times, wow, right? Marked us. So I want to break it down because I feel like some people in here are like, wow, and then they're like, what now? It's not happening again in the same way. What do I do? And so I want to go through and start with, touch the thing. Why did God show up that way? When he showed up, how did we respond? Why did we respond to that way? And then how are we going to steward this so that it can continue on and we can keep experiencing those nights and stay thriving? So I also want to tie in emotional health just because that's the kick we're on right now. So we're going to weave those, and I really believe that these two concepts are linked together. So I'm going to show you that as well. So the Lord showed up sovereignly, right? He invaded our plans. Our worship list was demolished. We had no idea what we were doing. Micah was supposed to lead, and Micah got laid out on the floor. So we were really being guided by the Spirit, right? It was invasion. But I feel like that night was for this house what John has said in the past, where God has shown up sovereignly in other moves, where he's brought up Toronto, where it was a movement of laughter, and it was a movement of the Father's love. And some people were a little bit critical of it, but the Lord picked the Father's love, and he picked laughter for a reason. And John's hit this before, but the reason is that the Lord knew what was coming when we didn't know what was coming. He knew the depression that was going out of control. He knew of the opioid outbreak that, did I say, you know what I mean? That was happening. How much our society is suffering right now from depression. And he knew it was coming, and he gave us the answer before we even knew we had a problem. And I feel like that second Sunday in March was the same marking night for this house. So what's he inviting us into? What's the invitation? What's it an answer to? And so I've been chewing on this, I guess now for a couple of months. And what I am feeling is the invitation. This morning, did you read out of 1 Thessalonians 5?
I didn't know.
That's my scripture. I was half praying, and then I heard him reading, and I was like, wait a minute, that's mine. I'm preaching on that. So yes, but I'm going to focus on a couple other verses. What I believe that he's inviting us into is that 1 Thessalonians 5. But what I want to focus on is verses 16 through 18. So let's look at it. It's super simple, yet it's not. So it says in verse 16, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. In everything, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus Christ for you. So I feel like we need to pay attention to that verse if they're saying this is the will of God for you, right? We're always like, Lord, what's your will? What's your will for my life? It's kind of right there in black and white. Rejoice always. Pray without ceasing, and in everything give thanks. So this should be a principle in our lives, but the Lord will move where he wants to highlight, he wants to focus, he wants us to bear down and be intentional about certain principles in the kingdom. And this is what I feel like he's inviting us into. When we put that intentionality in March on prayer by inviting Chad and his team in, and by worship, the Lord showed us it was time, right? Yeah. He moved in a marking way, and when he moves that way, we stop and we take notice, right? It got our attention. Yeah. So worship and prayer is a big deal right now. For this house, I believe for this city, I believe the Lord wants us to release something in that area. So how did we respond? He showed up. What'd we do? We danced like maniacs first, right? All of us. Wasn't just me this time, guys. It was all of us. We were a collective unit of crazies, but it was so fun. It was so childlike. Then I went from dancing like crazy to being plastered to the floor. Was anybody else like that? There was such a weighty, Shekinah glory in here. I remember being up there just in this sort of fetal, I was trying to crawl on my hands and knees to just get up, but I literally couldn't, my face just kept rubbing the carpet. I literally could not get up. And then what was the next thing that happened? We went into praying for each other. There was freedom. Do you guys remember when all of the kids were surrounding Chad? Yeah. And there was so much power released. There were so many prophetic words that were released during that time. Yeah. So our spirits, they picked up what the Lord was doing. Yeah. And then our souls and our bodies just followed suit, right? We laughed, we danced, we spun, we celebrated, we cried, we shouted, some of us screamed. It was great. We did all the things and we felt all the emotions in one night. Yeah. But these are the keys to understand that if we want to accept the Lord's invitation and steward the season well. We have to pay attention to how we responded to keep stewarding what he's inviting us into. So what's the problem that he released an answer to that night? Like if Toronto, the laughter was for depression, what is prayer and worship for? What have we been hitting on here? Emotional health, soul health, paying attention to more than our spirits. The number one question that I get anytime I talk about emotional health is, how do you do that journey? How do you dive into yourself and not get lost or drowned? Because in here is a little scary, right? He has made us very, very complex beings. We have many layers. We have nuances. We have seasons. And then as soon as we figure out ourselves, we change, right? We are never ending. There is never an end to the journey. So the number one question is, how do I not die in this process, right? Or feel like death in this process, or still love myself in the midst of all of this chaos? It's really easy to lose sight of the why when you're in the midst. We start looking at, oh, do I have trauma in my life? Do I have pain in my life? What's my motives when I say things? How do I interact with people? Like, what are holes in my life? Like, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And da-da-da-da-da-da. And we forget about the why. That's why we need worship and prayer. It keeps us grounded in the why. Because we're not here for us. We do need to address us, but we're here for him. So when we come into worship, most of the time we start with praise, right? So we're singing and thinking about who he is, what he's done for us, our testimony, right? It gets us back in the right frame of mind. It gets us in the right perspective, where all week we could have just been completely lost in ourselves. And if we forgot to worship, it's okay. We're going to come in here, and you're going to be in an atmosphere of praise. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, he can handle that. He's my provider. He's my healer. He's my comforter, right? And we give it to him. And it's like, you're the one that can actually handle this. So here, have my complexity that you made me. So, why do you even start the emotional health journey? Why do you start this soul searching? Why do you go beyond just what the church has deemed like your spirit? I think that there's 3 reasons. All of my thoughts, I boiled it down to 3 reasons. And the first one is to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. You notice they didn't say spirit and leave it. There's 4. We have layers. The second one is to be the absolute best representation of God as sons and daughters. We find health to represent him well. And the third one is to actually fulfill the only commandment he gave us, is to love our neighbor as ourselves. How can we love ourselves if we don't know ourselves? And then we have to learn to love ourselves after we figure out who in the world we are. That can be complicated, okay? It sounds easy, but it's very complicated. It's a journey with the Lord. But you know what? He made it that way so you would journey with him. He did it so you can't do it on your own. So the church has done really well. I feel like the church has done really well with teaching about the heart. I would call that your spirit. Like you invite Jesus into your heart, You give your heart to Jesus, like you've had an exchange. There's things going on. We're guarding our hearts. We're being aware. But if we want to love him with our souls and with our minds, we have to know what we're feeling, and we have to know what we're thinking. It's not unspiritual. Like we've split these things apart when it's all the same. It's not unspiritual to take the time to know your thought patterns, to take the time to know how your brain works, because all of us think so differently. That's why in so many times with marriage classes, and there's the big joke, it's like, what did you just hear me say? Yeah. Because our brains process things so differently. It's not unspiritual to feel your feelings, to embrace your feelings, right? Your emotions are not of the flesh. We need to I don't judge the church. I love the church. But new revelation has come. And the revelation says emotions are great. Emotions, the way that I think about it, is that emotions are the indicator of what's happening in here. Right? We can truth bomb ourselves all day long, but have you noticed that sometimes you keep telling yourself the truth, but nothing's changing right here? That's because you're ignoring your emotions. You're ignoring the indications because those are pure. Now, whether your emotions are attached to a lie or attached to a truth, that's beside the point. They're going to tell you what's going on. They're going to be true to what's happening inside. So if you'll actually feel them and address them, then you're going to find out if you're believing a lie or a truth. Right? It's not the emotion's fault. It's not it's not anger's fault that you believed a lie and so now you're angry with this person. So I'll give you a little teeny snippet of Pathway to Powerful and some keys that I've picked up in it that I do kind of all the time. So you have a feeling. You have feelings. You get angry. You get frustrated. You get short-tempered, don't know why, or you get sad, or you're going through life and all of a sudden you realize that you're feeling kind of lonely, or you're feeling unseen, or you're feeling annoyed by everyone, right? And you're kind of just I wonder why I'm this way. A lot of times the emotions are attached to interaction with people, right? Somebody makes you angry, somebody makes you feel unvalued. Somebody makes you feel this, makes you feel this, okay? What do? Well, the first thing that I do is I do not go talk to that person. I know that we are a healthy atmosphere of confrontation and conversation, but that's not the first step. First step is you go before the Lord and be like, this is how I feel. Why do I feel this way? Where's the hole? Is there a lie? Were they actually rude to me? Were they actually devaluing to me? Were they actually being overbearing? Or do I have a lie in me? Do I have a hole that they accidentally just poked and they didn't know it was there, but it poked me and it poked me good? Okay, 9 times out of 10, that's absolutely what just happened. And it's your job, your responsibility to fill that hole with the Lord. To break off that lie, to fill that void with the Father. Extend forgiveness if you need to. If your feelings are real, forgive them. Even if they didn't mean to do it, forgive them anyway. It's for you, okay? And then what I'll do is I've had this time with the Lord. I'm feeling better. I'll go interact with that person again. I'm still not going to go talk to them about the thing that happened. I'm going to go interact with them again and then say, is there actually a problem here? Or was it all me? Was it my problem? And then, because again, 9 times out of 10, it was your problem. We think too much. We look into things too much. I'll get into the other too muches that we do later. But if there is a problem, now that you've gone through all of these other steps, you can now talk to them without accusing them because you know what you felt, you know why you felt it, and now you know what you need from them to not have this happen again. So instead of going up to them and being like, you are so mean, I don't even think you see me. To, I don't think that you know what happened, that I had this wound, but this is what I'm going to need from you. Like some people, they need conversation. I don't really need conversation. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not a need of mine. My friend Dee Dee needs conversation. And so she's had that, I need this from you conversation. But I didn't feel attacked or accused or that I'm lacking. It was a great, healthy conversation. So, snippet. The rest, the 4 weeks, we dive in deep. We dive in deep. Now, where am I in my notes? I'm on a different page. Okay, so before we move on from the mind, the one thing that I want to address with the mind in your life is that when you find freedom, when you find a truth, it doesn't mean that immediately everything's better. That your mind is, boop, all better, everything's great, everything's sunny. I've believed this lie for 25 years, but as soon as I saw it, it's all better. Right? How many, for real? I mean, I know the Lord works in miracles, but has anybody had that where it's miracles, right? Our normal freedom journey is different. It doesn't always go away when you find the truth. And that's where you have to step into grace for yourself. Right? Don't question your freedom. So many people will come out of an inner healing session, or will come from being prayed for on the front, or will have an amazing service of freedom, and they're just like, yes, it's finally broke off, and I'm free, and I know the truth. And then they get into another situation, and their feelings kind of feel exactly the same. Or the world is the same old world, and it smacks you in the face, because the world didn't change, right? It's about the steps. It's about knowing that, okay, I'm going to get a little sciencey on you guys. Just a little bit. Okay, so say you believe a lie for a long time. Your mind was designed to cope with it. Your mind brings you balance. Your mind's job is to bring you peace. That's why you go into survival mode, fight or flight. It's its way of like bringing it back together. If you believe a lie for long enough, your brain's like, okay, great, this is the new reality. This is what we're doing. This is reality. This is your world. And it begins to create neural pathways of how you think with that lie. Those don't go away as soon as you say, okay, I decided not to believe that. Your brain's like, wait, we've been doing this for a long time. What do you mean we're not going there anymore? Yes, we are. And there's a process of you're saying, no, we're not. Even if you mess up, next time you're going to say, no, we're not. We're not going that way. This is what we believe. No, we're not going that way. This is what we believe. I know a lot of times in Sozos, they give you a piece of paper with your truths, and they say every morning, read this to yourself. Read it out loud, because it brings those new pathways into your thinking, into your mind, into your existence. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Science isn't bad either. You know, I think that the world, because they're not focused on the spirit like we are, they've been very focused on the physical. They have a great understanding of how our bodies work. We obviously know to tie it to the Lord as a creator, but don't negate their research. Like, use it. Use it as a tool. Okay. So the church has embraced how our thoughts affect everything. I feel like it's done a really good job. And I say this with I never want to come across as judging the church. Like, I love the body of Christ. So I say this with compassion and understanding. They're starting to step into emotions. Some churches have stepped in, some other denominations have embraced emotions in your internal world more than other churches. So it's tiptoeing. It's tiptoeing out of the emotions are the flesh and scary and not God. But where I feel like the church still needs the revelation is that they keep crucifying our bodies. Yeah. They keep putting our physical bodies back up on that cross, and they're like, you need to die. It's the you need to die camp, or you're just temporary, so I don't care about you at all. Yeah. You're not worth my time. I am a spiritual being, right? Which is true, but do you want fullness? Because he created these bodies for a reason. He could have just made us whatever he wanted to make us if he just wanted us to be spirits. He made these bodies. And it's time for us to let them shine. They're amazing. Our bodies are literally amazing. I mean, just our mind, those neural pathways, it's all physical. It is physical things that are happening inside of us to keep our spiritual and soul peace. It's all connected. To put this into the Bible, I won't say to make it legal, but it says it in the Bible. If you keep reading in 1 Thessalonians 5, in verse 23, it says, now may the Lord of peace himself, peace, sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. So your wholeness is spirit, soul, body. You are all of the same. The truth here is that our bodies can be sanctified just the same as our spirits, just the same as our minds. If we believe that our minds can be renewed, why can't our bodies be renewed? If we're born again, why aren't our bodies born again? I truly believe that I was saved, I was born again, and guess what? I'm still in a body. My new spirit still needs a body, and it is being sanctified, and it is being preserved blameless. So we have to stop blaming our flesh as an excuse not to put the work in. All right, let's count. No, I'm just kidding. I think we're selling ourselves short. We're doing it the easy way when we just focus on our spirits. We're so much more. Yeah. And if we want to make a difference here, we have to realize we're so much more. So I want to explain how much your body is involved with everything. So in life, how many of you have ever felt stuck? Just ugh. Your emotions have felt stuck. Some of you have been through some awful, traumatic things and have a hard time moving past it. Yeah. You're stuck in it. You're stuck in feeling triggered either by this one certain thing or everything under God's green earth. You just feel like you're poked all day long. You feel like your relationships are sinking, or that they're going nowhere, or that they're stagnant, or that you can't make new friendships. You feel like your walk with the Lord is lacking. You can't break bad habits that you know aren't doing anything great for you, but you still do them. These all sound like mind, soul, emotions, like internal world. But it's actually the Lord designed our bodies to store our spirits and our souls. So this is our container for everything. So if you've noticed, I'll go a little bit sciencey, but it's not too bad. When you have a really large emotion, how does your body respond? When somebody scares you. I always think of John with Victor, when Victor lived with us. It was like John's pure joy to scare Victor in any way possible. Because Victor's response was amazing. His body was very responsive. So, you jump, right? You might scream. I'll get really vulnerable. You might get like the insta-sweat things when you get really scared, right? It's even gone as bad, like when you get scared, that somebody might have like a panic attack, or they might have an asthma attack. Do you realize that your emotion of fear caused your lungs to stop working? Yeah. Like, realize, become aware of that connection. Yeah. When you laugh so hard, you start crying. Your laughter made water come out of your body. Like, I don't think we put these dots together, right? Or we use the term, this is breaking my heart. When you're grieving, when you feel so horrible, when it's deep pain, you say it's breaking my heart. But it's because there's actual tightening in your heart, like in your chest, right? There's actual pain, physical pain in your body because you are feeling so intensely. And then it can go all the way to an extreme where somebody gets news that is so overwhelming to them, their emotions are so overwhelming that they have a heart attack. Your body will try to cope with every emotion the best it knows how. Yeah. It is directly linked. Skip all that because I'm talking more than I was thinking I would. She's fantastic. So sometimes it's not enough to know the truth in your mind, right? He knows us. So he created a key for when we get locked up, when we feel stuck, when we have like the emotional clog going on, right? Guess what it is? Moving, quite literally moving your body. Physically moving, getting up, getting your body involved is actually the key to unsticking the inside. So we're seeing so much depression and trauma and emotional crazies right now because people were literally stuck at home during COVID and literally were not moving. They walked from their bedroom to the kitchen to maybe the living room. That was their movement for the day. So not only did we not have connection, we didn't have movement. We literally did not move. And so many people are stuck. They are literally stuck in 2020. It's scientifically proven that movement, and even better, like collective movement, all of us moving in the same way, with people around you, help unlock your brain, reset it, and open itself back up for connection. It gets you out of survival mode. Moving with people. If people aren't around, move all by yourself. This is why you'll see really shy kids or really kids with a lot of issues going on that are shut down. They'll join sports teams, or they'll join the band at school, or they'll join the orchestra or the glee club, something that's a passion of theirs, but guess what? They come alive. They're a completely different person than anywhere else than when they're in these teams, these groups. Why? Because they are in sync with them, and they are moving in the right direction. They are moving together. Football teams have plays. They are moving in sync. Choirs are singing their different parts and moving in sync, right? Playing your instruments, you're a part. It makes you feel connected. So, I have an exercise for you guys. Don't worry, it's not scary. You don't have to dance yet. Okay. What I want you to do is take the next 10 seconds and high five the people around you. High five them. Give some high fives. How many people can you get? How many people can you get? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job, guys. You excelled in this exercise. How many people have more energy? How to feel more awake? Feel connected to the room? Realize there's more people in here than you? How many of you feel like you were seen? Even just for 1 second. 1 second of being seen can change everything. Right? And what did you do? Did any of you guys smile when you weren't smiling before? And laughing? That movement, that simple movement, everybody doing the same thing, all of us collectively moving, pulled us together. And guess what? It just opened up some emotions, right? You were laughing. You felt great. Hopefully, bad emotions felt a little less, right? Or some uncomfortable ones, I should say, because not all emotions, none of the emotions are bad. We all know that when something happens, we feel threatened, and we go into fight or flight, right? That's survival mode. Like when I say survival mode, I mean that fight or flight. Something has made you uncomfortable enough that you either need to split or you need to punch somebody in the face. Like, get out of my space. Don't laugh. I lovingly always threaten my kids, I'm going to punch them in the face. They know I would never actually do it. But what we like to do is when that happens, we don't actually go back and figure out why we went into the fight or flight. Because let's be honest, I honor if anybody has been through something insanely traumatic in here. But for most of us, our everyday fight or flight moments are not actually life-threatening. Like they're not. They're uncomfortable. And they're too uncomfortable for us. In this area, we're not actually in life-threatening situations very often. So why won't we dive into why we had that reaction? The more that we don't allow those emotions to have space and to feel them, walk them out. Emotions, okay, so one thing I want to say is that emotions, they bring you towards somebody. You always feel towards someone, right? So when you process it out, you are opening yourself up for connection. You don't feel your emotions and you're the push it down deep person, you withdraw. So in fight or flight, it's disassociation. You pull away. You disassociate. You live in your own bubble, and it's a reality that's pretty scary. I feel like many Christians are spiritualizing their disassociation and calling it maturity. They're saying, you don't faze me, it's okay. I have everything I need in Jesus. You don't bother me, it's okay. When really on the inside, they're like, "Wah! How dare you say that to me? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know what I've done for the Lord?" You know it. That's why you're laughing. But we call it being level-headed. We call it being unfazed. When actually, it's extremely unhealthy. I feel like that is the reason that we are dealing with this huge crisis of deconstruction. Because people are saying, I want to feel my feelings. I want to understand what's happening. I want to know the why. And we're just like, that's of the flesh. Just look at Jesus. Right? And they're like, what kind of answer is that? Because we have no idea how to feel our emotions. Because for a long time, for generations, we have said emotions are bad. Right? Women were put into insane asylums because they felt too much. But it's time for the church to redeem it. I'm not going to judge them, but now we know. So now we're held liable. There's an expectation on us, and we have to learn how to do this right. So, I'll make you feel better. I've done it. I have been in seasons of life where it was hell on earth. Literally, I chose those words on purpose. Lots of emotions, lots of hurt emotions, lots of pain. But I would come on Sunday morning and put on my neutral happy face. God is good. I am not, but you don't know that. Right? Because there is a fear that, like, if anybody saw the struggle, then I was unqualified to help. Right? But you know how I would get out of it? I didn't want to get out of it, but the Lord would force me out of it sometimes until I saw the value in it, is I would get hugged by people I had connection with. And that movement of a hug and being held was like, I'm not okay. I am crying. Let me tell you all the reasons I'm crying. Right? Has that ever happened to anybody else? And then sometimes you know who those people are, so when you're feeling and want to shove, you're like, oh no, they're looking at me. Don't touch me. Don't go near me. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But it's that movement. Your body got your brain out of the way to let those emotions come up. And then once I was a big blubbering mess, then I could actually see my feelings, see my emotions, figure out why I was having those emotions, extend forgiveness. Sometimes situations, it's not about like, I feel this, thank you. You have to sit in it. A lot of times with grieving, you have to sit in it and just allow the Lord to hold you and just feel it and not feel like you have to move past it. But you have to know what you're feeling to know if you should sit or move. Your bodies allow you to keep moving. They are the ones that have you thrive. I looked up the definition for rejoice, and one of the definitions for it was thriving. Our bodies allow us to thrive. If we keep moving, if we keep moving forward, we get to get on the other side. The emotions aren't forever. That particular emotion will not last forever. The world is crying for us to figure this out, for us to wake up. We have shoved everything down for so long because we have said our spirit is the only important thing. It's the only thing that matters. And we have shoved everything. We've become asleep in 2/3, actually probably half to 3/4 if we're going to do the 4, of our beings, of what God's created. But what do we do physically, like practically? What do we do when we're tired? That's that mid-afternoon siesta time, but you can't have a siesta. You have to keep going. What do? Not coffee. I knew somebody was going to say that. You move. You get up. You get moving. You get your blood pumping, right? In staff, for a little while, John would have us like do these crazy like blood pumping exercises. We were like, yeah, woo! But by the end, we were giggling, we were laughing, we were ready to get going again. It's movement. Movement wakes us up. This is the key. Why do you think that yoga studios and CrossFit gyms are like the biggest thing since sliced bread right now? Whether you agree or not, this is not my point. It's about what's popular right now, okay? I'm not getting into that. But it's the movement, and it's the collective movement that people are craving, right? Okay, so I can guarantee, I'll put you at rest a little bit. I can guarantee that these people going into these classes are not going in to worship a Hindu god. It's not for spiritual reasons. There are people that do that for that reason, but the vast majority in America, that is not why they're in these classes. It's about moving together. It's about being aware of their body. It's about being aware of their breath and that collective, we're all in this together. Where I'm going to encourage you, you encourage me. We're going to go over obstacles. We're going to do crazy things that scared the snot out of me when I went to visit a CrossFit gym. That I was like, no, thank you. But if you camp, you get to do it all the more because people are pushing you on. You're in sync with them. All they know is that when the class is over, they feel more full and they feel more alive. That's the kingdom in it. That is kingdom in what is happening in the world. So how do we do it here? Right? Because we're not going to have CrossFit classes during Sunday morning, right? I mean, we can, but I don't feel like the Lord's calling us to that. He created worship. We were created to worship God. But do you think he created it because he needed our worship? That's always been the paradox. It's like we were born to worship, but he doesn't need the worship. So why in the world did he do it if he doesn't need it? Worship doesn't fill a need in God. It fills a need in us. God is so good that he took an act of focusing on him, and he still made it about us. That's how good he is. Right? So like I was saying before, like praise. When we think about him, it puts us back in the right perspective. Praise is also when we like move more, right? We're supposed to. I do. I was kind of sad I chose a dress today. I was like, oh man. But it gets us moving. We jump and we dance and we spin and we celebrate. What I'm trying to hit home is that this movement that we're doing at the beginning, we pick songs where your body should move to unlock you. Our whole point of worship is to pour out our love on the Father. If we want to actually pour it out, it needs to be able to come out. And he has quite literally made it that when your bodies move, it gets to come out. Right? Does that make sense? The more we dance and move together, and the more in sync we are, all of us in this room, the more that we're going to feel connected with each other. The more that our emotions and our thoughts are going to be freed from our survival mode prisons that we have had. But we have to do this together. You have to participate. Your body has to move. You can't watch somebody else move around. Watching it doesn't count. Watching people dance in front of you doesn't unlock anything inside of you. Now, it might give you the courage to actually move. It could be an encouragement to you, but nothing's going to happen on the inside until you move in some way, shape, or form. This is why Paul told the Thessalonians to rejoice always. Our life is forever a dance with the Lord. He shows us where we could be renewed, because it's the lifelong journey. then we're like, great. And we get down in the dirt and we pick it up. But then we're just like, what do we do with it? We should give it to the Lord. It's not our job to clean it up. It's not our job to pull out the polish, to pull out the water, because the water doesn't come from us, right? When you pull it out of the ground, you're like, here you go. The work is pulling it out of the ground, not cleaning it up. If the Lord's showing you something, it's to give it to him, not for you to handle it on your own. In staff prayer shortly after the second Sunday thing happened, I got this picture from the Lord where he was pouring this beautiful water into us. And then as I watched the water go inside of myself, the water started becoming murky. And the Lord was showing me there was like sediment and like dirt and like crevices where it wasn't to make me feel down upon myself, but it was just that continual cleaning. And then I heard myself saying, like, I can't pour this back out on you. This is dirty water. This is murky. Like, what am I supposed to, like, I'm not giving you this. And he's like, well, what else are you going to do with it? He's like, I poured it in for you to pour it back out on my feet. When we say we pour everything out, he knows exactly what he's asking. He's pouring it in, cleaning you up, and your only job is to pour it back out, no matter the state of the water. And then what I saw was that this water, it comes in and it's beautiful and it's life-giving and it's vibrant and it's amazing and life-changing, but then we do nothing with it. And it becomes stagnant. And then we get jaded. Well, how come the service after that one wasn't the same? The Lord must think something different if he decided not to show up the same way. We must have done something wrong. The leadership here must have done something wrong. They're not listening. When it was actually us, we weren't pouring back out. Now, this isn't judgmental because there are ebbs and flows in everything. We can't take that. I can't take that every service. I slept the whole next day. But it is our job that whenever he pours out, if we want to steward this well, we pour it back out on him, no matter what it looks like. And what I saw is that there were so many people in this room where they were trying to pour out, but it was a trickle. Because they are so locked up. They are so stuck. They refuse to look at their emotions. It hurts too much. Or just all of these things. When you don't have to worry about thinking through it so much. The Lord has given us a very easy key. Move. Move your body. Get your physical body involved. Some of the hardest seasons that I've had in my life, I have called the leadership team to a prayer meeting, and my phrase is always, I just need to dance it out. I have no idea what's going on inside of me. It's a whole lot. It hurts a whole lot. God is moving a whole lot. It's too much. I just need to dance it out. And I'm not a dancer, okay, guys? Like, my dancing is like, yeah. It's bouncing around. You see it every Sunday. So it's not this choreographed thing, but we literally put on music, and it's not always happy music. I am usually coming out of here with blisters and like rug burns everywhere because I am literally throwing myself into dancing, into slamming the carpet, if I need to punch the floor, I punch the floor. If I need to spin, I spin. If I need to wave a flag, then I'll wave a flag. But I let my body, I follow my body. So what is it doing? I love King Julian, and I was telling Rachel Schmidt about this yesterday. We thought about doing a flash mob, but we didn't. But as soon as I was ending writing this, all I heard was King Julian. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Right? He is the founder of body movement. And guess what? He was always happy and very secure in himself. So as I'm bringing this to a close, what I want to challenge all of us in is how can you get your bodies involved? Like if you are feeling thankfulness, Like, how is that showing in your body? If it's towards a person, are you giving them a hug? For someone more intimate, are you giving them a kiss? If it's in church, are you throwing up your hands? Are you getting on your knees in surrender because of how thankful you are? If you're feeling reverent, do you bow down? Do you open your arms wide? Do you just tilt your head back and bask in him? What are you doing? What does your body want to do? Become aware of what your body wants to do. Even the ones that are standing here like this, I know that your bodies want to do more. I know it. You can't convince me otherwise. Everybody's bodies wants to worship the Lord. And if you're like this and you can't move, then that's your journey. Because that's not who you are. That's not your identity. That's where you're stuck. Because the Lord made your body into an identity too, because he created it. So how are we going to move? How are we going to collectively move in this place? How are we going to show this city to get unstuck, to heal? Because I can't do it alone. I flail up here all the time. I love it. And I'm actually a pretty shy person. Nobody ever knows that when they watch me worship. But that's because I have found so much freedom in movement. My worship is so much deeper and fulfilling and intimate and exciting when my body is involved. So everybody stand up. Andy, can you get that ready, please? No, we're not doing King Julian. I thought about it. I so thought about it. I enjoyed it in my office last night for you guys. No, I want to play a song. Most of you guys know it, but I just want to give you an opportunity to activate this, to explore, to experiment in this safe place, and to have people around you who already have this freedom to kind of show you what to do. Right? Because at home, you think you're doing great until you find somebody else who's doing a whole lot more, and it spurs you on. So, Andy, you want to play it? It's a worship song. It's I Thank God. And I picked the video so that you could also watch. job, guys. Yes. Woo. All right. So I feel freedom in this place. I moved. Oh, all right, prayer team, can you guys go ahead and come up? They may just breathe on you as they catch their breath. Woo! But it's okay. If you need prayer, if you need agreement to work through this, it's fantastic. Know where you're at. Woo! But I just bless you. I bless you with this journey. I bless you in freedom to dance, freedom to lift your hands, freedom to stomp your feet. Whatever your bodies want to do, we say, come alive. You are loved. You are welcome, body. You are amazing. You hold me so well. You steward me so well. You keep my peace so well. So be free. I give you the space to be free. In the name of Jesus. Amen. So there's another fun song. If you want to keep dancing, you can keep dancing, and then the people that want prayer can come on up.
Those orphans home. We've been waiting all day long. Our ringing robe is ready. We can see them coming now. Just like the prodigal. We're gonna meet them in the road. We'll sing it. Everything now has a song. We'll sing it all day long. Till the rest come running home. And on the broken can you hear? We'll shout it out forever. Can't wait till you make it here. Sing it all, say strongholds start to break at the sound of our voice.